Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. US and Ukraine move closer on peace deal. Trump says progress made, but thorny issues remain. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to meet Trump to discuss Gaza plan and Hezbollah tensions as Washington pushes to establish transitional governance and an international security force for the Palestinian enclave. Kosovo's ruling party wins vote after a year-long political impasse and delayed key international funding. Prime Minister Albin Kurti promises swift formation of new government. From hill stations to plains, North India witnessing cold wave conditions and dense fog. Delhi wakes up to a foggy morning, orange alert issued. And in cricket, Indian women clinched T20 International Series win against Sri Lanka by 4-0. US President Donald Trump said on Sunday that he and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky were getting a lot closer to an agreement to end the conflict in Ukraine, though both the leaders acknowledged that some of the thorniest details remain unresolved. The two leaders spoke at a joint press conference late on Sunday afternoon after meeting at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. Trump said that it will be clear in a few weeks whether negotiations to end the conflict will succeed. Both men have said that both the countries are broadly in agreement about most of the points in the negotiation. Notably, however, both Trump and Zelensky did not offer any timelines, instead vowing to have their teams meet again in the coming weeks. Trump called it a terrific meeting and described Donbass, the eastern Ukrainian territory on the front line of fighting, as an unresolved issue, but said that they were getting a lot closer to an agreement. Trump said that Russia are going to be helping with the reconstruction of Ukraine. He added that he was open to visiting Ukraine, ideally after a deal was agreed.
Well, thank you very much. We had a terrific meeting. We discussed a lot of things. As you know, I had an excellent phone call with President Putin that lasted for over 2 hours. We discussed a lot of points, and I do think we're getting a lot closer, maybe very close. We spoke to all of those great leaders. They're all great leaders. And we had a great talk with them after we were completed. We thought it was appropriate to speak with them. And our meeting was excellent. We covered, somebody would say 95%. I don't know what percent, but we have made a lot of progress on ending that war, which is really certainly the most deadly war since World War II, probably the biggest war since World War II.
Zelensky thanked Trump for a great meeting, adding that a 20-point peace plan was 90% agreed. The Ukrainian leader described them as 100% agreed, calling them the key milestones in achieving lasting peace. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and other European leaders took to social media on Sunday to thank President Donald Trump and welcome progress made on peace negotiations aimed at ending Russia's conflict in Ukraine. Zelensky said that he and Trump made significant progress in talks and agreed that US and Ukrainian teams would meet next week to finalize the issues. US President Donald Trump is expected to push for progress in the stalled ceasefire in Gaza when he meets with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday for talks that will include Israel's concerns over Hezbollah in Lebanon and Iran. Netanyahu said this month that Trump had invited him over for talks as Washington pushes to establish transitional governance and an international security force for the Palestinian enclave. Trump said that he could meet with the Israeli leader soon, but the White House has not yet confirmed the details. Netanyahu, who is expected to visit Trump's Mar-a-Lago beach club, said on December 22nd that discussions were expected to cover the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire, as well as Iran and Lebanon. Washington brokered ceasefires on all the three fronts, but Israel is wary of its foes rebuilding their forces after they were considerably weakened in the conflict. Kosovo's ruling party wins vote after a year-long political impasse and delayed key international funding. Prime Minister Albin Kurti's party won more than half of the votes in Sunday's election opening. The vote is the second this year in Kosovo after Kurti's party fell short of a majority in February. Months of failed coalition talks prompted President Joza Osmani to dissolve parliament in November and call an early election. Kurti's party leads with 87% of the votes counted after polls closed. Analysts say that it is difficult to predict if Kurti will be able to form the government on its own without a coalition to secure the 61 seats in the 120-seat assembly. Kosovo Prime Minister Albin Kurti promised that he will swiftly form a new government, signaling a possible end to the year-long political deadlock that has paralyzed parliament and delayed key international funding.
Once the results will be certified by Central Election Commission, we should swiftly constitute a parliament out of 10th legislature and then form immediately new government.
On Sunday, polling stations in Guinea officially closed for the country's first presidential election since 2021. At several polling stations, officials were seen emptying the ballot boxes onto the tables and calculating results. The vote is Guinea's first presidential election since a 2021 military coup that brought junta leader Mamadi Doumbouya to power. The current military leader is the heavy favorite to win a new 7-year term following constitutional changes that allow him to run and extend his time in office. At one polling station in Conakry, officials announced preliminary results showing a large lead for Doumbouya. GMD won more than 90.85% of the votes, said polling station Vice President Nabi Yaya Bangura. Authorities have said that provisional nationwide results are expected after counting is completed, as attention turns to turnout levels and also the overall conduct of the vote. Election officials in the Central African Republic, in fact, began counting votes on Sunday evening following the country's presidential election. At a counting center at Bangui, officials opened ballot boxes and poured the contents into the floor before beginning the process of sorting and tallying the votes. The presidential election was held alongside legislative, regional and municipal polls. The election is taking place as the Central African Republic continues to face security challenges from armed groups that control large parts of the country. Authorities say provisional results are expected to be announced by 5th of January. If no presidential candidate secures more than 50% of the vote, a runoff is scheduled for 15th of February next year. Polling has closed in for the first phase of Myanmar's junta-run general elections since the military seized power in 2021. The vote has been held amid ongoing conflict and sharp criticism from the United Nations over its credibility. DD India's Adami Mishra brings us this report.
Polls closed in the first round of Myanmar's junta-run elections on Sunday, marking the end of the opening phase of a month-long vote. Democracy watchdogs have dismissed the exercise as an attempt to rebrand military rule, with reports of low voter turnout and persistent questions over polls' credibility. In Myanmar's largest city, Yangon, voters also lined up at polling stations as voting began early Sunday morning. The country has remained in deep political turmoil since the military ousted the civilian government led by Aung San Suu Kyi in 2021.
The election is important for Myanmar. I expected a lot for this day. I'm happy it reached 28th December, so I came first here to vote.
Overshadowed by ongoing civil war and questions over credibility, voters in Myanmar began casting their ballots on Sunday in the country's first general election since the 2021 military coup. Authorities say that over 50,000 electronic voting machines are being used nationwide to prevent fraud. However, critics have dismissed the exercise as neither free nor fair. Myanmar's junta chief voted in the heavily guarded capital, claiming the election would be free and fair despite widespread skepticism. Two more rounds of voting are scheduled for January 11 and January 25, covering 265 of the country's 330 townships, even as fighting continues in several regions.
We guarantee that this will be a free and fair election. Our reputation cannot be ruined by this election being conducted by the military. I recall that 2020 election turned out very badly and damaged the country's image. It was shame. Some people ignored the result. I knew the result of 2020 election because I checked the process myself.
The junta says the election marks a fresh political and economic start. However, the United Nations and human rights groups have rejected the polls as lacking credibility, with major anti junta parties staying out of the process. Adamya Mishra's report for DD India.
China has said on Monday that it is conducting major military exercises around Taiwan, with live firing activities to be conducted on Tuesday across 5 zones in waters and airspace near the self-governed island claimed by Beijing. A statement from Senior Colonel Shi Yi, spokesman of the Chinese military, said that starting from December 29th, the People's Liberation Army Eastern Theater Command is dispatching its Army, Navy, Air Force and Rocket Force troops to conduct joint military drills, codenamed Justice Mission 2025. Pyongyang has announced on Monday that it successfully fired long-range strategic cruise missiles into the sea off its west coast on Sunday. The tests aimed to verify nuclear deterrence capabilities, described as a legitimate self-defense measure against external threats. This follows recent displays of a near-complete nuclear-powered submarine hull intended for nuclear missile deployment. South Korea detected the launches and affirmed readiness via its U.S. alliance. Though not banned by UN resolutions, unlike ballistic missiles, the maneuverable cruise missiles pose risks by evading radar. Analysts link North Korea's advancements to potential Russian technology transfers. More tests may proceed next year's Party Congress. Two helicopters crashed mid-air in Hamilton, New Jersey on Sunday, killing one person and critically injuring another, authorities said. The Hamilton Police Department said it received a call about an aviation crash involving two helicopters near Hamilton Municipal Airport, where both aircraft crash-landed and one became engulfed in flames. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration said in a preliminary statement that an N-Storm F-28A helicopter and an N-Storm 280C helicopter collided mid-air near the airport with only the pilots on board each aircraft. While National Transportation Safety Board said that it had opened an investigation and that information on victims would be handled by local authorities. Multiple gunmen killed 6 people on Sunday after shooting up a beachside boardwalk in southwestern Ecuador. The attackers, who arrived in a van and on motorcycles, opened fire on the crowd before escaping. This was the third deadly attack in the city over the weekend, bringing the local death toll to 9. Police believe the shooting was caused by a dispute between rival criminal gangs. Ecuador has become increasingly violent because it sits between Colombia and Peru, the world's largest cocaine producers. This location has made the country a major battleground for powerful drug cartels from Mexico and Colombia. Despite hardline security policies introduced by President Daniel Noboa, the violence continues to rise. One person is reported dead and 2 missing after torrential rains flooded Spain's southern and eastern provinces over the weekend, as overflowing riverbeds swept away cars and motorcycles, and authorities warned residents to stay indoors. In southern Spain, search parties were seen combing the area grappled with flash floods. Authorities issued red alert warnings in Valencia, where deadly floods in October last year killed over 220 people and caused billions of euros in damage. 8 other provinces were on orange alert, warning citizens of serious risks to themselves or property and to be prepared for worsening conditions. The heavy rains in Valencia last year caught authorities off guard, with many blaming local and national officials for warning people of the danger too late, eventually prompting the leader of the region to resign. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break. Stay with us.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar.
Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Prime Minister addressed the Conference of Chief Secretaries in New Delhi on Sunday. The conference focuses on the theme Human Capital for Viksit Bharat, covering the best practices and strategies for states and union territories to follow. In a post on X, Prime Minister said that he discussed integrating the latest technology to make a positive difference in people's lives. He urged the states to promote manufacturing, enhance ease of doing business and strengthen the services sector. The mega musical multimedia show Namotsav was held at Ghuma in Ahmedabad to showcase the life, ideas, work culture and dedication of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Home Minister Amit Shah said the event was more than a cultural program, describing it as a journey reflecting India's self-confidence, determination and values. The show featured renowned artist Sairam Dave along with 150 other performers, making it a grand celebration of art and inspiration. Union Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav announced that Southern Railway will double train capacity in Chennai, Coimbatore and Ernakulam by 2030 to meet rising passenger demand. He also said that major upgrades will be carried out at coaching terminals in these key hubs to support the expansion and improve facilities for travellers. Parts of northern India are expected to remain under dense to very dense fog conditions over the coming days. Delhi wakes up to a layer of dense fog on Monday. Also, the weather department has issued an orange alert for Delhi today. The maximum temperature is expected to be around 22 degrees Celsius, while the minimum temperature will settle at 7 degrees Celsius. Cold day conditions are also very likely in isolated areas of Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, while Bihar may experience similar conditions. Cold wave conditions are expected in isolated pockets of Punjab, Haryana and Madhya Pradesh and in Jharkhand as well. A fresh western disturbance is expected to affect the western Himalayan region from December 30th, with its impact extending to the adjoining plains from December 31st onwards. The Met Department said light to moderate rainfall and snowfall is likely over Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh between December 30th and January 2nd. Our correspondent Siddharth Bharadwaj is joining us from Delhi to get us more. Siddharth, good morning. It's the start of the week. Delhiites woke up to a very foggy morning, and this is what I see behind you as well. So it's not just Monday blues today, but all white for the Delhiites, isn't it?
Yeah, very good morning to you, Preeti. In fact, a very chilly good morning to you. And yeah, definitely you put that right, that it's not just Monday blues, it's all white. And you can see behind me there is almost zero visibility. And when we were coming today, I'm here in the central part of the Delhi. And when we were coming here from the adjoining NCR region, and we could see people, turning on their parking lights and then driving on the roads. And we could barely see some people walking. Very few of them were walking, and such is the conditions. And as you have rightly pointed out, there is an orange alert that has been issued by the India Meteorological Department, and the maximum temperatures will go on till 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, and the minimum temperature to 7 degrees Celsius. In fact, since yesterday evening, this sort of scenario is quite visible. When we were driving back to those adjoining areas, we could see since around 7:45, 8:45, the dense fog was slowly growing up, and now in today morning, the Delhiites woke up to the dense and foggy morning. People are taking caution while they are driving on the road, and they are, like I just mentioned, they have turned on their parking lights. And we could also see some people using electric heaters to keep themselves warm, as the temperature right now, which I could see, is 9 degrees Celsius, and the minimum temperature, like you just told our viewers, could be around 7 degrees Celsius. So yeah, it's quite chill in the morning, and some extra layers of clothes have been put on by the people who are going to their work, because it's Monday, like you said, and apart from that, there is too much chill in the air. Preeti.
All right. Yes, Siddharth, the Delhiites are also braving the AQI, the poor air quality. Added to that, these cold conditions, and also the fog in the morning. Any word from the Met Department for the next few days?
Yeah, the Met Department has said, Preeti, that for the next few days there will be conditions like these, and as far as the chilly weather is concerned, people will see this chilly weather. However, there would be times when there would be a sunny morning, but then the chances are really less, especially till the 1st or 2nd of January. That's what the reports that we are hearing, and especially it's New Year's which is about to come, and today is 29th of December, and especially on 31st of December, people go out to celebrate the New Year's as well. So yeah, that they should be well
prepared.
They should be really careful about the weather, and not well prepared, of course, and they should be really checking the weather and how it is, and avoid driving during the night time, especially because of the dense fog, because there are chances of accidents. So they should be really cautious while they're driving on the road, especially on the foggy nights and the foggy morning as well, which we are witnessing right now.
All right, Siddharth, we leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those updates. And from here, we now turn focus to sports. Smriti Mandhana's record-breaking knock powered India to a 30-run win over Sri Lanka in the 4th T20 International at Thiruvananthapuram. The women in blue maintained their perfect record over the visitors, extending their lead to 4-0 in the 5-match series. Smriti Mandhana's 80 runs and Shefali Verma's 79 powered India to a record total of 221 for the loss of 2 wickets, their highest ever T20 score. The spotlight was firmly on Mandhana as she became the fastest Indian batter to reach 10,000 international runs. In reply, Sri Lanka fought through skipper Chamari Atapattu's 50, but regular wickets derailed their chase as they finished at 191 for 6. Harmanpreet Kaur's side showcased batting depth and dominance, crossing 200 for the second time in the series. The 5th and the final T20 International will take place on Tuesday at the same venue. Former England and Wales Cricket Board Chief Executive and opening batter Hugh Moss has passed away at the age of 62 after a long battle with cancer. Born in Cardiff in 1963, Morris enjoyed a distinguished career with Glamorgan, scoring nearly 20,000 first-class runs and leading the county to the Sunday League title in 1993 and the county championship in 1997. He played 3 tests for England in 1991 before moving into administration, serving as ECB Managing Director from 2007 to 2013, overseeing 3 Ashes wins and the 2010 World Cup T20 triumph. Awarded the prestigious British honour of MBE in 2022, Morris also raised funds for cancer charities. That's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.